Okay, welcome to the February 5th, 2020 meeting of the Fall River Sewer Commission. Before we get going into the agenda, I have to talk about the open meeting law. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged as admissible. Would you take the roll call, Mr.
Yep. President Almeida.
Present?
Commissioner Bernier.
Present.
Commissioner Souza.
Present.
Okay, thank you. That takes us into the agenda. First item on the agenda is citizen input. I see we have Mrs. Allen here. Is there are you here to say anything? What is it is there something you want to say?
Yeah, the last meeting that we had, you had tabled it, and I hadn't heard back from you. So there's just been a lot of ongoing stuff back and forth, and it hasn't gotten anywhere. And you said for us to table it until we got to, to agreement, and that obviously has not happened, so that's why I'm back here again.
Okay. I think since our last meeting, I've had some discussions with Mr. Ferlin. I believe we were intending or had made a proposal to Mrs. Allen.
Correct.
That was sent to you with respect that I believe would have allowed you to go into the easement area by what, 15 feet?
5 feet.
By 5 feet. And I'm assuming that was something that didn't meet your needs?
Well, if it did, then I would have signed off on it. So at this point, no.
Okay. So it's my understanding also that you've taken up with some legal counsel?
I did.
Okay. And I think Mr. Ferlin has mentioned to you that as a result of that, the issue you have with this commission basically now lies in the hands with the Corporation Council. And your council has to deal with the Corporation Council to convince him that we should give up an easement that we have a right to. Now, I haven't heard anything back with respect to what's going on with that. Have you, Paul?
No, I haven't. So there is a new corporation counsel for the city. I have had a brief conversation with him on this matter. As far as I'm aware, I am not aware that Mrs. Allen's counsel has contacted the new corporation counsel for discussion.
So, with that, with respect to that, that's where we stand.
Okay, so I'm representing myself to begin with. I saw the counselor today. He said he knew nothing about it. He doesn't know what's going on.
Well, maybe you can enlighten him some more, being a new person, and make your case to him and see where it runs. But I can say right now, we've given you an option. Obviously, you don't think it's good enough.
Okay, because in the beginning it was 10 and then went up to 15. And like Joe Medeiros, the one that bought the property and the homes and everything, he's just saying that he's making his own rules. And again, when I spoke with your committee, it was Newton Street. They were allowed to put a fence up, a fence that was on a utility in the sewer area, where mine is just running water. So, again, you're bringing your men over there with a huge truck over there, with my worker over there, and now we're measuring it out. And again, your workers, your city workers are commenting like, why is this guy harassing her? And I want to do this for the safety of my grandkids, because they're out there, they're running in the road. I'm sure if you had your grandkids and they were trying to go out in the road, that you would want to get that blocked off as soon as possible. I think that's not fair at all. And, you know, 10, okay, first I was saying 5, because this gentleman over here came and said, okay, do 5, do a drawing, and I'm pretty sure he'll go with it. That didn't happen. I said, okay, so I said, oh, how about 8 feet? And then it's like, no, it's not gonna work. So we got to 10 feet, and then it's like, okay, we could probably work with that. But then, he wasn't willing to work with it, so now we're going to 15 feet because, again, I guess he's making his own rules. I really don't know. I sent out things to you commission people, but yours happened to come back.
Excuse me, let me stop you there for me.
Sit down,
You
please.
say he, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Paul Fernan.
Okay. All right, I need some clarification.
Okay.
Go ahead. You make
I
it.
said what I said, and then
All
I
right.
sent out things to you commissioners, but the only one that came back, obviously, was yours.
Okay,
And that was sent out on November 8th.
Mhm. I know, we're gonna
I gotta say that, personally myself, I'm not in agreement to relinquish anything that's on that easement, personally, myself, because we have a right to it.
Even though I paid for it, yes, I understand.
Well, you know, it was there, you know, I think your problem was with the builder or the guy who sold the land and everything else, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's a case where buyer beware, you know? Had you known that and knew that there was an easement there of such a magnitude, maybe you wouldn't have bought the property, I don't know.
Right, and when I did speak to him, after he told me, after all the paperwork was signed off with the attorneys and stuff, I said, okay, so does that mean I can't build a fence on there? He says, yes, you can.
Well,
And whether, you know what, whether has to do with him selling me the house or whoever, to me, it's like, okay, I'm coming to you commissioners only because I thought that was the right thing to do in the beginning.
that's fine, I have no problem with that. If you go ahead and build the fence on the property, we could take a strong position and say, get rid of it. Or if you built on it, at some point in time, we may say, hey, we need to get on there and we're gonna have to rip down your fence and you're gonna end up paying for a new fence and any problems we have getting to what we gotta do and so forth and so on.
But I hear that, and that wouldn't be the issue if you had to get in there, because yes, there is a manhole there. My workers were the ones that found it. And my agreement obviously was I would have to spend more money to put a gate in there so you guys could get in there nicely and get into the manhole. Okay, you have like 64 feet. Okay, now you want to take 20 more feet. I understand, it's an easement, okay? So that's gonna give you 84 feet, and you're telling me that big truck that measures, I think they had it measured at 9 feet or something like that, couldn't get in there? They were showing my workers, they were showing my guys. It can get in there, you know?
All right, where do you stand right now with respect to where the fence is?
We took it down. I had my guys take it down, so I had to pay them to take it down. So when we finally come to a conclusion, hopefully, I have to pay him to put it back up again. But she almost got hit by a car because she runs in the backyard a lot. And I have my grandkids a lot. And so I'm really upset now. I lost my brother in December, my oldest brother. So I said, you know what, put the fence up because this girl almost got killed, okay? My little granddaughter. And that's what made me put that back fence up, but we had it at exactly 10 feet. We had it at 10 feet. So I said, forget about the 5, forget about the 8, let's do the 10, because I want to protect my grandkids.
Is a 10 something that's
The
suitable?
10 is right on the edge of the manhole on top of our underground structure.
That's why you was going to have a gate there. That's why we
Again,
agreed to have a gate there.
And the issue is not gaining access to that manhole. That manhole is fully within our easement, so we should have access to that at all times. The easement is to be able to get equipment upstream from where that is, to be able to maintain that stream in that area. That's what the easement is for. So it's not to access the manhole, not to access the pipes downstream from the head wall. It's to be able to access upstream from the head wall.
Which the big truck came over and said that they could. And they also had a suction thing on the top of it showing us how it would actually work to get into there. I'm not here to fight with anybody, I'm just trying to make my grandkids and everybody safe in that area, in that space. And I was willing to put up a gate, more expense on me, where my fences was already damaged anyways, because they had to take it down. And I was gonna put the gate up there to get in there. But even with the meeting going on, I mean, I've been having complications with Mr. Furlan, and for him to say, you're not coming to the meeting, but then decided on Monday, we're having a meeting on Wednesday, that was great. I really appreciate that, thank you. But when I came to your office, it's like, you're not gonna go to the meeting. I said, that's not how the meeting ended.
That is not what I said.
Okay, Joyce? Joyce?
was here.
Yep, she was sitting right out there, so.
All right.
I mean, I wouldn't treat my patients like that. I'm a nurse, okay? I wouldn't treat my patients like that. I would treat them with respect, take care of them, and make sure that they're okay, you know? And I'm not from around here. I'm from Martha's Vineyard, born and raised. As I told you guys before, you know, I'm an elderly person, you know, a Native American, but so what about that? I take care of people, and that's my thing. And I want people to be protected, meaning, you know, my granddaughter and everything. And I'm not asking for much. I don't know how you city people, you know, did things out here, but I was asking around, what should I do? And they said, go to the sewer commissioners. I said, okay, that's what I'll do. So I thought by going to the sewer commissioners that it would be okay. I did the right thing instead of doing the wrong thing.
The initial proposal that went out was for how many feet? 5?
So there was a draft agreement that I gave her, which stipulated that the draft agreement didn't have the actual wording that I wanted in there. The agreement that I did send out there said it could go 5 feet onto our easement. The fence could be placed 5 feet onto our easement.
Okay. There was nothing that said 15 feet?
No, there was a draft agreement that I gave a copy of her, explained to her it was only draft and that I still needed to review it and update it. So I never talked about 15 feet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 feet is not sufficient for you?
It won't give me a room to put up what I need for my grandkids. And then I want to put up a shed, a small shed. And doing so, I had the guys come over that were going to put the shed up, and they said that that was not enough room. Here's a 10-foot one, that was the first review.
Correct. And, that was
And then this one came, but what we had, I'm sorry, John?
Yes.
John, he had came out on our property, and he was talking to my guys, he was really nice about it. And I apologize for hopping on you, but I know you was doing your job for Mr. Furlan, so I apologize as a woman. But he was saying, do the draft, do the 5 feet, and you know, and then I'm sure he'll go for it. But obviously that did not happen. Also, I went down the quick claim deed, and it says an assessment is 10 feet. That was the other one I did.
our easement is 20 feet on the back of the lot.
That's how it's recorded, so they must have a recording error, I guess. I really don't know.
But the fact remains, we have an easement there,
Yes, you do,
right?
yes.
And I don't know how you other gentlemen feel about this, but, you know, I don't want to, we have an easement, we have a right to this, to get into the property. If this property owner, Mrs. Allen, was to go ahead at her discretion and put up a fence on the easement, she would have to do it at her own risk, right?
It would be in violation of the easement, the rights that the city was given to that easement, yes.
Right.
Oh, the other thing you could do, you can buy the easement, is what I understand. You can buy it from me.
We
I,
already own the rights to the easement. Again, I just caution the board, this has been, since there is, been legal action, she has a lawyer, or had a lawyer, I don't know if she still does. Ms.
No, I
Allen
don't.
did, Corporation Counsel was involved. Again, at that point, even Corporation Counsel doesn't really interact with the people unless it's through their lawyer or their lawyer releases them to talk to them. So that's the only caution that I do give to the board.
Well,
Which I no longer have one. So I'm representing myself, and that's why I said I went to city councilor today, and he told me he knew nothing about it. He's new. He just started. So,
well, I
I mean,
think,
how can you go to somebody that just
if you,
doesn't-
look, the way I feel is, we have an easement,
Yeah?
we have a right to get into that property whenever we need it. And I think it's pretty plain and cut and dry, okay? If you feel as though you yourself could represent yourself with this problem and knock on the door up at the new corporation council and present your problem to him, and if he looks it up and finds some way in which, we are obligated to make a concession to you, then, and he can prove that, then we're obligated to do it. But right now, I gotta say, 5 feet, 10 feet, so forth, we have to abide by what we got on paper, and we have to have access to that property when we need it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry to say, Mrs. Allen, I feel really bad for the fact that, maybe you were steered a little bit when, you brought the property and so forth and so on, and you got contractors telling you, oh, don't worry about this, it's not a big deal and so forth and so on. Well, in a sense it is. We need access to that, so.
Well, have you been out to the site?
I was at that site today.
Oh, you was
And I
today?
have been at that site about 2 months ago when things were a little bit different
So
than
you
what.
went exactly on the site?
I was standing right at the gate. I was standing.
What gate?
Listen to me. I was
Okay, I
right
know.
on Bay Street. I was standing about 2 feet from the manhole cover.
Okay.
And I'm very well aware of what your needs are and what our needs are, okay? But I think with something like this, somebody upstairs in the legal corporation council has to be able to tell us that we cannot have access to that property the way we want it. And I'm not, personally myself, I'm not speaking for you other gentlemen, but right now, I don't want to give up anything. Okay?
Why don't you buy it?
Well,
No, seriously, why don't you buy it then?
well,
If you're not
that
gonna
might,
give it up, and
listen,
I'm the one that's paying taxes on it.
that's an option that maybe we can explore,
Yeah,
okay? And,
absolutely.
but, I would say if you feel strongly about what you feel, unfortunately, like you said, you don't have any counsel anymore, and I can understand why.
Well, that's your comment, but okay, thank you. I mean, that didn't have to go that way.
You could, if you feel as though you want to get somebody else to represent you, to go up to the new corporate council and resurrect this thing in that fashion, be my guest.
Yeah,
But,
well, I'm sure he would have to go out there and actually look at it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
But-
because people say they go out there, and I know as a fact, they do not.
Well,
Because you
Mrs.
know
Allen,
why, to be just.
Mrs.
put it
Allen,
out
I was there, I've been by that
Okay.
and stopped there 3 times.
Okay,
Okay.
today,
No, today I was there probably around 2 o'clock
and the reason was,
because I knew you were coming here.
oh, okay.
And I wanted to be prepared for what I was seeing.
Okay.
So that's it. Myself, I don't know about you gentlemen, how do you feel?
Yeah, you know, the property lines were designed that way to give you the area that you needed, even though like the same thing can happen with wetland. You can't do something with wetland, but it adds to the area of your house so you could build a house there. That's what the builder took advantage of, you know, so that if he didn't do that, you wouldn't have had enough area to have a house. So in that sense, it helps you. And so you're saying you're paying taxes on it, but so that you can have a legal lot is what you have. I think Mr. Furlan had tried to give up part of that in concession, and that's more than what's legally obligated, you know. And so, yeah, I do feel bad. You know, years ago I did a subdivision, and the guy had 3 acres, but he only had a very small area that he could build a house on because the rest was wetlands. You can't change that. That's what it was, but it gave him enough area to have a buildable lot. And that's really what happened there.
Yeah, I get it, but
Yeah.
how can you allow someone to put a fence on Newton Street, Newton Ave, that has like utility and sewer there? And mine's only running water, okay? Because I had 811 come down and check it, and it doesn't have any of those other things. It just has running water there.
That's that brook
Yes.
Yeah.
on Cook Pond?
It was running pretty well
Yes.
today when I saw it.
Okay.
All right,
Can I say one thing?
anything you want to say?
One thing, you
Yes.
say that they pulled the truck on there. Okay. That truck went in and it went out?
Yes.
Okay. What happens if we have to have a piece of equipment to go in there and excavate? A typical backhoe is going to take up 25, 30 feet just to turn around, put the stanchions out to stabilize. So that's why we need the most room we need.
64 feet that
Well,
you have
whatever
now
it
with
is.
it's 64 with that chain fence that's up, there's 64 there. And then now you're gonna add another 20, making it 84 feet.
Right.
And my worker has a backhoe, so he came in there and also
Okay.
showed to me
But
as
what I'm
well.
getting at is you
I
mentioned.
have everything, I have a, not a, I have a camera, so I know who comes and goes on my property, so I know, I actually know. So that's why I was asking. And the other thing, Mr. Almeida, the remark that you made about you could see why I don't have an attorney, yeah, because it costs me a lot of money as a single person.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that wasn't necessary.
Well, I was, please, don't take it. I think it's something that's a burden that probably fell on you to do what you had to do. And unfortunately, that's, you know, it's expensive, and that's your decision to do. But I was just, I guess you could say, feeling bad for you for having to do that. But only because of the fact that I don't see any results having come out of it with respect to your legal people going upstairs and trying to convince them to convince us to make some type of grand concession or something. But that, please don't take it as being a slight remark. That's,
Well, I just took it the way that you put it out there.
well, you know, it wasn't intended to be that way,
Okay.
so please accept my apologies
I
if that
will.
was the case.
I will.
All right. Okay, so I don't see us going any further at this point in time with regard to this
Sure.
unless somebody upstairs in the Corporation Council.
That knows nothing about it.
Well, he'll find out.
Somebody that knows nothing
He'll
about it.
he'll find out about it. He'll definitely find out about it.
That'll be
By
his
what,
job.
bringing people out there to actually do something to show you they can and cannot do it? I mean, maybe that might work.
Well, that'll be up to him to determine what he has to investigate.
Okay, so everything's going to him now after we last spoke and you wanted to table it. So now because you guys, you know,
I think-
you're going with Mr. Furlan, I can understand that. So this is what we're doing, we're going with Mr. Furlan for now, until I as a homeowner that just moved here can figure or convince that man up there, when he has all you powers to be, to say, no, don't do it for her?
Let's put it, let's go one step further. I
Sure.
think right now, if I was to take a consensus of these other two gentlemen, and I'm not speaking for them at this point in time, but I think the consensus is we want to leave everything the way it is. We want to have access to that easement, and that's it. That's, I think, what, am I right, gentlemen?
Correct.
This,
You have to.
no, no concessions, nothing. We want it the way it is, and that's, you say we tabled the last time, now I think we're basically telling you that since that last time, since having gone through some other correspondence and everything else, which obviously didn't work out and so forth, that we want to keep things as they are with respect to the easement that we have in place. Now, if that's something that you still want to fight, you can take it to the Corporation Council by yourself or through any other medium that you may have access to. And if they can convince us that we have no right to do that, or that we are obligated to do something different, then we'd be glad to listen. But until then, and after all this discussion we've had, the decision of this board is that we want to keep that easement the way it is.
Okay, so all this that I just showed you really doesn't mean anything to you, because number one, you guys didn't even bother looking at it, and number two, as I explained it to you, was at the Registry of Deeds. I don't know if you're aware of it, but that's at the Registry of Deeds of the 10 feet.
Well, listen,
So, no, do you or do you not know that?
I don't think I particularly care about it.
You don't care about it, okay.
No, because
Okay,
we have an easement that's been in place prior to even you buying that
that's
property.
right, and it's right there. It
Right.
tells you it's right there, and
Right.
it's 10 feet.
And,
But you don't care at this point?
no.
Okay.
If our information shows it's to be of a certain size, then that's what we expect it to
For
be.
the time being.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Allen, but that's where we stand.
Okay, I mean, that's fine, because you don't want to do nothing with this. This is fine. Thank you.
All right, thanks for your time.
And how long you been a chairperson?
Excuse me?
How long have you been a chairperson?
Why is that important for you to know?
Oh, it's for the public to know, right? That's just a question.
35 years.
35. The chairperson here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's take this to item number 2. Minutes of the previous meeting.
Nope. No, he doesn't want to. Doesn't matter.
All right, anybody have any problems with the minutes of the previous meeting?
No,
Okay.
make a motion.
Okay, make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting held on October 23rd. Make that motion.
Motion, accept the
Second,
meeting.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, that takes us to item number 3, Wright Pierce, Hyacinth Street Drainage Project in the Southend Pump Station.
Okay.
Now, these are, what, contract amendments?
Yep, so these are contract amendments, you have two of them in front of you. The first one is Ray Pierce. This is for the Hyacinth Street Drainage Project. Within the Hyacinth Street Drainage Project, we just had to do some modifications throughout construction. The engineer spent additional time dealing with those modifications, so this is just an amendment to their contract. So now we'll be able to continue out and close out all the construction activities, get the as-bills made up at the end of the project. So just up at the screen, actually, that's the Hyacinth Street north drainage area, as referred to. So over in this area. This has been constructed, but just so that you know, down in this area, this is all the drainage that was installed. This is
Right.
the area that floods out here. We did bring additional capacity down here because it showed issues in this area, and we added trench drains up on the Rich Street area over here. Down through this lot, we were originally planning to do an open swale moving all the way out to the end of the lot, which is what EPA and DEP require. We had a lot of resistance from the neighbors out there that didn't want to open swale. We made modifications to that, so that we could work with the neighbors within that property. The next slide you'll see is the Hyacinth South project. So that's, again, another lot that we bought in the Hyacinth South area. Up again, but right over here, we had some, we have the lot that we bought. These are some wet time retention areas. Water will only be in there during rain times. We installed all this drainage within the roadway. That goes through this lot out the back here. And right now, we're in discussions with Mass DOT as they do their resurfacing project of Route 24 coming up in the spring to do a 3x5 box culvert underneath Route 24. The hope is that with their construction project, we'll be able to get that box culvert in as well prior to them milling and overlaying the highway.
That's the one you were talking about before, huh?
Yes, correct.
What's the complaints of the neighbors? What's the primary complaint?
So, one of the neighbors didn't like the large open swale. They were worried about, they had concerns of standing water, mosquitoes, those type of things, and major aesthetics of it. You know, we did work with them to come up with something that they were.
You got a solution to it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yep.
good.
Yeah, so if you go by right now, both of those lots are pretty much constructed. They're still in they're still in dirt because of the winter. We can't get the grass, but out in the spring they'll be able to get the grass done. But the major construction is done, and behind us there's temporary patching out there now, which will stay behind us. Engineering department is planning to pave the Hyacinth Street corridor. So
This is the one that's closest to Diamond?
this is the one that's closest to Diamond. Yep, we call this the Hyacinth Street South.
Yeah, okay.
So the Wright Pierce contract amendment is in the amount of $35,000.
Okay. What's the original contract for any of it?
The original contract with Wright Pierce for the construction services and oversight is $170,000. Design was before that.
So they're saying they want an additional 35?
Correct.
And this will complete the project.
This is, from an engineering standpoint, yes, this
Yeah.
will complete the project.
Okay. All right, anybody have any problem with that?
No,
Anybody want to make a motion
Make a
to
motion, we
award,
accept it.
to award, what, an
an
amendment?
additional
You wanna call it an
35.
amendment?
And amendment number 4.
Amendment number 4
Yeah,
to
amendment
contract.
number 4, section number 2, $35,000 to be approved and
Second.
added to the original contract.
Want a second?
Second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
It takes us to, now that was all item number 3, right?
No.
That was the first section
First
of
one.
item number 3.
Okay, now we're talking about the Southend Pump Station, right?
Correct.
All right, okay.
And where is that?
So Southend Pump Station is down in the 994 Jefferson Street complex.
That south end.
Yeah, so that's down, if you take Jefferson Street, like you're heading to the Atlantis Charter School off to the right there. That, it's weird, because that whole entire, all those mill buildings in there are all labeled 994 Jefferson Street.
They are, yeah.
And it's kind of in the middle of this complex. But this pump station takes all the sewerage from Dickinson Street, the other side of the cemetery, so you got Newhall and all those streets up there.
Oh, on the
everything.
south,
Yeah, all that, all that comes down to this south end pump station. It actually crosses the cemetery, comes across Atlantis Charter School, was their land at one point, the wetlands, and then comes down through the mill complex into this pump
Does the
station.
casino drop down through Hearst and then go into there too?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, the casino does come down into this pump station too. So what you have in front of you is a contract with Wright Pierce for $570,000. This is for the construction management and oversight of the construction of this pump station. We have been working with them through the design process that's been ongoing for the past 8 months or so. We finally come up to a final design, and within the next month we'll be out to bid with this project. Just to do a little rundown of the project. So, if you head into the 994 Jefferson Street, you come in down over here, with a road that forks off, you come down, and then you cross over a bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Which is actually where Sucker Brook is. This is a machine shop directly across the street.
Right.
This building is where Servpro used to be in the past. So you cross over Sucker Brook, come down the road, there's another road here that goes down to the roadway that Atlantis Charter School is on. So our pump station is currently right on the corner.
Are you looking to relocate the pump station?
We're staying on the same parcel, building a whole entire new wet well, new meter vault, and a new building. So it's gonna be staying on the same property, but all new components.
Is this going to be comparable to what's taking place around President Avenue?
Yes,
Yeah.
so this pump station actually has the same design as that building, that wet well. Everything is comparable and exactly the same. We're trying to standardize these stations, so our guys go to one and they kind of know the same thing at all, between the components. So actually, it's gonna be the same pumps in Southend that we have in President Ave, so rather than keeping 2 spare pumps on the shelf for the 2 different stations that are designed differently, we keep one that covers those 2 stations. So,
All right, sounds
by
good.
doing this, we're gaining a lot of value in our spare parts and also the education of our staff. But currently, so on the site, there's a small building which is shown by this light gray area in the center of the lot. Wet well over in this area, sewer manhole comes in over here, and we have one small sewer that comes in from over here as well.
And that pump station pumps it where?
So this pump station pumps it all the way down Jefferson Street, over Route 24, and then it dumps in
Over 24?
over 24,
Of
yep.
that overpass on
Uh,
Jefferson?
Yep, in the overpass, there's actually a sewer force main that goes through there, and then it drops into Jefferson Street gravity sewer.
Okay.
How much more capacity will the new one have with respect to what we got now?
So capacity will be roughly about the same. Currently, we have, it'll actually be more. So currently, we have 2 pumps in there. The capacity of the existing station, this existing station, is probably about 12 to 1400 MGD that we could pump out of it. The new one we're designing for about 2,000. So we're adding in a 3rd wet weather pump. It also gives us redundancy, so if one of the 2
Right.
pumps go down, we have a backup already in place. But we are designing the same thing that we did at President Avenue. In there now, in that pump station now, is 2 6-inch pumps. The new station is gonna have 3 pumps. So we're building in an extra wet weather capacity into all these stations.
Do we have a handle as to what would the construction costs on that thing's going to be I mean, because the one up in President Ave is what, 4 million?
Yeah, President Avenue, we were just on 4 million, that's the engineering and the construction contract. Down at Southend, we're right in, almost in the same exact ballpark. So actual construction is 3.2, design and oversight, the oversight and construction management is 570. So just around that 4 million.
All right, okay, so the design portion, all that stuff is roughly about what we're paying up on President Avenue.
Yeah, correct. Correct, and again, it's the same building footprint. This site was an interesting site because the soils on it are extremely bad, very deep peat and unstable soils. So through the engineer, we were a bit concerned about putting the building on those types of soils. Plus also being so close to Sucker Brook, with the possibility of those washing out, we looked at different types of stability systems, and we decided to go with a micropile system in there. Again, something that, that's one issue that we had on this site. Another issue that we had on this site, again, is trying to stay within the footprint of the existing site. Ledge is about 11, 12 feet deep. Wet well goes down 28 feet. So we gotta get through all that ledge to get down to the bottom of the wet well, so. The site's a challenging site, but, again, President Ave, same thing, we had ledge right around the same area. Dewatering was definitely an issue with the swamp right off the edge, so, but the contractor's been dealing well with it.
Now, Ray Pierce is doing President Avenue also, right?
Yes, correct, they did President Avenue. Right past, they did Hyacinth Street for us. We started working with them about 6 or 7 years ago, bringing them on some smaller projects. We've been extremely happy with their work. They're always trying to value engineer for us to try to keep the cost reasonable.
Okay.
How is this compared to, in per ratio for Royal Crest Pump Station? Smaller or bigger?
So the old Royal Crest pump station that we now call the Highland Woods pump station,
Right,
this is probably 3 times the size of that.
3 times, okay.
Yeah, for the actual inflow and capacity.
So, when we get through with all the added pumps and all that, the generator gonna be able to handle the entire station or just a part of it?
Yep, so the generator at this site will be able to handle.
Oh, it's already in existence for this one?
It's in the design, the one that's
Okay,
designed to be
okay,
installed
that's
will
all I'm
handle
looking for.
the full station capacity,
All right,
yes.
great.
The existing one that's out there is actually, I think that one is the one gas generator that we still have within the system. which is,
Natural gas,
No,
propane?
gasoline,
Oh, gasoline.
yeah, which is odd. Now we either have diesel or propane, but
Right.
this is actually a gasoline one, which is odd.
Are you gonna go for natural gas or?
No, my preference is diesel on all these generators.
Okay.
If there is an issue with the infrastructure systems, natural gas system may be affected as well. That's always been my biggest concern. So during a large emergency problem, say an earthquake or something like that.
Right, you lose the
if
natural-
natural
yeah.
gas goes down and we lose our generators and we have, 15 stations without generators.
Okay,
if the natural
thanks.
gas system's down.
That's good.
Good. What's the timetable on this?
Again, we're looking to go out to bid probably, I think it was within the next month. We'll probably have about a month and a half of bidding time frame. Plan to come back to the commission once we're ready to award a contract, and then we'd be looking for a spring kickoff for construction.
Do you envision in the construction interfering with any traffic or access to public?
Overall, the access road in, that comes in from Jefferson Street may be affected at some points. So we have power lines that run this side of the property. So when there's set instructions and stuff, this roadway will have to be closed and we'll have to crane in from this section of the roadway. But the truck traffic that feeds into this plaza, there's 3 entrances. There used to be 2 entrances into this whole entire mill complex. One wooden bridge that's to the west of here, and then this bridge here. Once we built the new road through into the Atlantis Charter School across the water department property, that road does tie into this road. And that's actually a very nice truck route. It was designed to be able to take large trucks through that route. So we'll still be maintaining the two ways in and out of that whole entire facility while construction's ongoing.
Yeah, that's good.
You're not envisioning any environmental issues, are you?
No, not with this site. Again, we did borings, so we did take samples of the soil. We didn't find anything out there that concerned us. Again, the only thing was the actual soil condition, just being able to
yeah.
put the building and the bearing of the structures on that soil.
Okay. You have any problem?
Nope.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion to award to Wright Pierce the amount of $570,000 to perform the design and construction phase, bidding phase for the Southend Station replacement project?
Make a motion.
Richard, you set? Richard?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, that takes us to item number 4, City Incorporation Hyacinth Street Drainage Project Change Order. Is this with respect to the north-south?
This is, so the north and south were one project, so there are things on this list that are from the north and the south of Hyacinth Street. So CN Corp has been our contractor out in the Hyacinth Street project. As you know, with any construction project, we run into unforeseen conditions.
This change order number 2 we're talking about?
Yes,
Change order number 2.
correct.
Okay.
So the, there are some either unforeseen conditions underground, or some things as we're going along that we request to be changed. Within this change order, that's the majority of what these are. This is a zero net change in the overall contract because there was savings within the contract, so we were able to deduct out those savings. So there is no increase to this contract amount with this change order.
So what do you need from us?
Just approve it.
A vote to approve. Essentially, it's a change in scope.
Okay.
That's where you had this underground, got rid of the swale and had some pipings, that was the biggest.
Yeah, that was the
Expensive.
biggest one, correct. And that was to do with the Hyacinth North area, due to the complaints of the neighbors. And working with them to remedy it.
So we need a motion?
Uh,
You have to
Okay, so
make a
you
motion to
want
approve?
a motion to approve the change order as it exists?
Correct.
Okay, anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that Hyacinth Street drainage improvements, change order number 2, to be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, item number 5, Woodward and Curran on the SCADA project.
Right. So within this, there's three different work orders. Woodward and Curran, I've been having them kind of oversee the SCADA upgrade project. SCADA, so a system control system control and data acquisition computer program.
This is for the plant?
This is for the wastewater treatment plant.
Right.
It also does a lot of our remote sites too.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So, what we've done so far with the SCADA system down at the plant, we've updated all the computers. We've updated the actual software on those computers, the screens. We've added in control from the PSA building, which is the building to the south in our plant where we make the oxygen for the oxygenation basins. All that data that was in that building was isolated to that building, never came back to our SCADA system. So now we've upgraded that, so all that data comes back. What a couple of these, what this first one does is the raw water pump station. So this is down before the the pre-screening facility. So this would take everything from raw pump station and be able to bring that information up to the control room. Currently, we have a isolated SCADA system down, so if the guys want to make any changes or see how things are operating, they need to go from the control room all the way across the plant, across the tracks, down to that building, and that's the only spot where they can operate this SCADA system. This will tie this SCADA system up to our control room. One of the other things that we're working on, it's not included in here, the board has already approved it, but we're looking at being able to have remote access so the guys can look at the SCADA system where they are anywhere in the plant on a handheld tablet. So that's something else that we're working on. But so this first work order number 8 takes the raw water pump station, updates the PLC, updates the SCADA, and then brings it back up to the control room, and that's in it for an amount of $13,000.
Okay.
If you want, we can go through all 3 of the work orders, and then probably do one vote to approve all
Yeah.
of them. Work order number 9 would take pump house number 2. So that's down the bottom, that's where our chemical feed system is for our disinfection, so our chlorine and our sodium bisulfite is all housed in pump house number 2. That would take, again, we have a isolated SCADA system that's in that building, doesn't come up to our control room, doesn't come back to our main SCADA servers. So what it does is it takes and it upgrades the PLC and processes within that building, and it builds the communication to come back to the main control room. And that work order number 9, which that was, is in the amount of $22,000.
Yep.
Work order number 10 will take everything from the pre-treatment scrubber, so that's where our screens and grit chambers are. We have a SCADA system that works and controls the scrubbers, which are things that take all the odor out of the air within those buildings. That takes that SCADA system, brings that back to the control room, so we have full control and full recordings of everything that occurs within that, and that's in the amount of $17,000.
Under these different work orders, there's some assumptions, there's some other costs associated with that. Does that come under a different, how will that be addressed, like wireless radio,
Yeah, so,
conduits and all those?
right, so it's tough, that would go underneath a separate contract, so they'll come in, they're gonna design it, then we'll either go out with a bid or get pricing to install that equipment. So if needed, if that's a larger contract, it would come back to the board if it falls under approved, but, so that's what that would go, but this is for the design, the oversee, and then building the actual communication and system. It's not for the actual hardware that's gonna be installed, that will be separate.
And all these work orders are based on not to exceed, right?
Correct. Yeah, correct. We've been working, Woodward and Curran, as I said, they've been upgrading all the SCADA at the plant. And the operators have been extremely happy with the improvements that we've made so far, so.
Why is it necessary to have, a work order 8, 9, 10? Why can't you just?
Yeah, do it all under one. And again, this was kind of something from the beginning with Woodward and Curran, the way that we could have done it under one big contract. Since this is smaller projects and they're a bit isolated, when we first started working with Woodward and Curran, I wanted to get in, start them on something small, make sure I was comfortable with how they were dealing with the system and everything, so that's how we started with them. And I still wanted to keep these small just for tracking purposes, because it gets very tough, they're working on this, working on that, where does this get built? So this is more of a tracking purpose to be able to say, oh, well, we're only 50% done at the PTF, but you billed me for 75%, that's not, that can't be the case, so that's kind of why I'm keeping them separate as separate work orders.
Okay, I guess no problem with that. Okay, makes sense. You get better control and so forth. It seems like a lot of paperwork that has to be generated to go through all of it.
Yeah, if it was
For
just
$13,000 and
if it
and
would
what have you. But listen, I got no, if this makes it easier for you to keep your hands on and so forth,
correct.
all right, I got no problem with
Thank you.
it.
All right.
All right, so you need approval for each work order?
No, you can group this 5.
Yeah, I think you could probably group it as work order 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
All right.
52,000.
Make a motion.
Make a motion?
Yeah, make a motion to accept Wood and Curran SCADA, work order 8, 9, and 10 for a grand total of $63,000.
63 or 52?
62.
62.
62.
Okay.
Must be a rounding
Nope.
error. Must be
Isn't
a
it
rounding error.
13?
13, 17, and 22.
Oh, 22. I'm sorry. My group, 62,000. I thought I had it right.
Second it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. All right. It takes us now to contract updates.
52. Excuse me, yeah.
This is, again, this is for informational purposes, am I correct?
Yes, this is for,
Unless there's something on here that we need to vote on, but
correct, it's an
You got future change orders on the Crestbrook drainage improvement to the tune of, is that $790,000? Is that right? Crestbrook. See it?
Yep. So 70, just over $70,000, and then a estimated credit of 700 for the balancing.
Okay, all right, okay, all right, I see, all right. I was thinking it was a change order for $700,000. I read that wrong.
No.
I was like, what?
Credit.
All right, good,
Credit.
good, I'm glad. All right, thank you for pointing that out.
Nope.
All right, okay. All right. Is this project for the most part complete?
Crestbrook?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're actually out there, they're just finishing up some punch list items now. There's another loop detectors they still have to do, so there's a couple of minor punch list items that the contractor has left, but the overall construction is complete. KR Resendes did the project, did an excellent job on it, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the consensus of the work?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, KR Resendes on this project was good. This was the work that went through Eastern Avenue, Oak Grove
Right.
Cemetery. I also did the clearing of the interceptor drain on the east side of Route 24. Some difficult tasks they had with the traffic in Eastern Avenue through the rotary.
Yeah,
They were great to work with. As you can see, their change orders to date on the project were minimal, and unused items of balance and credit will be coming back over any of the change orders, so the project will be under the bid amount.
700,000. That's a good deal. Yeah, I go down, every time I go down Oak Grove Avenue, I look to the left to see that area, and it's pretty impressive. I think it's pretty impressive.
Yes.
It's gonna be nice when the grass starts growing again and everything else, and I think they did a nice job of cleaning up the cemetery.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
I was really concerned about that, because, with all the construction stuff and everything else in there, but as far as you know, does Oak Grove have any intentions of expanding immediately into that area?
Yeah, so we actually worked with them with some leftover soil for the project. That's why it's mounded like that, but they're currently under design to be able to expand into that area.
Really? Yeah, that's good. Okay, what other one? We got Hyacinth Street.
Correct.
We got future change order. Number 2, expected cost $77,000.
Correct, so those are that's the two, the amendment for Ray Pierce and the change order was what you voted on.
Okay. Now there's, all right, so we're expecting this to be completed by April 15th of this year, correct?
Yes.
Do you think that's gonna work?
April 25th. Yeah, Hyacinth Street, as I said, the project is pretty much complete. There's grass and, punch list items to be complete on that project, but all the heavy construction is done.
Okay.
As long as we don't get snow through April, we'll be good.
Now, again, does this refer to both locations?
Yes,
North and south?
North and
North and
south,
south.
Oh,
correct.
okay. All right. President Avenue. I happened to be going to Park Creamery one day, and it was nice weather, and I was with my wife, and I guess a couple of construction guys came in to, I guess, have breakfast or maybe it was lunch hour, and so I took the opportunity to take a walk back there, And there was a lot going on. Amazing what's going on back there. At that particular time, they had cranes that the size I've never seen before. I mean, it was like, oh my God, this, when you think about it, everything that I think of a pumping station, right? Everything's underground and all that stuff, but it's amazing when you're taking it and putting a new one in, and the work and effort that goes into it, the controls, everything, the amount of land that you have to excavate to get it going. And my wife, she goes, "Oh my God, what that cost?" I said, "Almost $4 million." And she says, "Well, it looks like money well spent." It appears to be that way. So.
Yeah, correct.
All right, very good. So what do we got for change orders?
Is there a generator on that pump station?
Yeah, there is a generator.
A new one?
Correct.
I can check it.
All right.
I believe
Nothing major.
It's spec'd as a tier 4.
Hmm?
I think it's spec'd as a tier 4. Tier 4 diesel generator.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, so there's still a lot of things to be determined, but
yeah, and some of these are actually requested by us, so the force main assessment, we had an allowance within the contract, it went over that allowance, but because of some additional things that we requested.
okay.
Buried plug valve is something that's gonna come a little bit later in the project, but it's something that we requested. So, up until date, there hasn't been anything unexpected that the contract has come up with. He did question dewatering it, but they're looking into the spec, but I haven't seen anything in writing from the contractor as of yet.
Okay. All right. Now we come to the big one. Building demolition and site electrical upgrade.
Correct.
This is West
West Construction.
West Construction.
Yep, so this is the construction down at the wastewater treatment plant, which is well underway. If you've been down to the plant lately, they're working on a lot of the underground duct bank so far. Luckily this winter they've had good conditions to be able to work on those.
What happened to what's the story with the, what's that, flaked wet weather pumps replacement? Was that something that was unexpected?
Yeah, that's something that was unexpected, so that wasn't part of the original contract. It's some wet weather pumps that we have. We pulled them, and two out of the 3 pumps were bad. Seeing that
They hadn't been operating at all?
they weren't operational when we pulled them.
Wow. So they were just sitting there in a sense?
Yeah, so we pulled them, so I made the determination under this contract that we'd, since they're being fed by the new electrical system and everything, that we should replace those pumps. So those pumps had I want to say it was something like a 18-week or 20-week lead time on it, so that's why we got it ordered up front here.
But the pumps that weren't operating,
Yep.
was it impeding anything?
So those are the wet weather pumps, so in the beginning of our station, it comes in, the flow comes in from 2 locations. It comes in from the tunnel, and it comes in from our interceptor drain. We can control the flow between the 2 a little bit. If we put more flow from the tunnel, during wet weather, we'll put more flow from the tunnel, and then we have to drop down what comes from the interceptor drain. So that brings down the need for these pumps a little bit more. But we'd much rather be pumping more from the interceptor drain and back the tunnel up a little bit. So that's where those pumps would help us out.
All right. And what's the lead time on getting them replaced?
It was something like 20 weeks just to get the pumps in,
Wow.
just to get them, built and shipped.
That,
So
and that's just for the pumps?
just for the pumps, we're gonna install them with our crews, yes.
You're gonna install them how?
We're gonna install them with our crews.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, Big
Actually,
project?
We just took delivery of our new, the board approved it almost a year ago, but we just took delivery of our new 550 crane truck for the sewer division.
Oh, yeah.
And that crane is, these are the largest pumps that we have in our system, and these crane is able to do that. So that's a savings. We won't have to hire a crane to come in when we need to work with these pumps anymore.
All right, then, we got the Middle Street Drainage Improvement Project, which for the most part is
Yeah.
complete.
Yeah, pretty much complete. They we had a couple of manhole linings that we've been waiting for some good weather and the contractor to be able to come in and complete. They just completed those. So we're at the final point of project closeout and documentation right now. We received the as-built from the contractor of the project. And just last week, I did a final walkthrough with MEMA and FEMA of the whole entire project. FEMA, through MEMA, was a grant, gave us a grant for almost $5.5 million towards this project. So we did the final walkthrough with them. They're extremely happy. All of our environmental permitting is pretty much closed out, so they're happy about that as well.
Very good. Very good. So this here. So in the final on that, are you expecting any more change orders after this?
There may be a very final balancing, whether it's going to be positive or negative. We still need to look at the final numbers.
Okay, so basically what I'm seeing here, though, since the start of that project, there have been 34 change orders, right?
Yep. Correct.
Okay.
34 PCOs, potential change orders. Whether all of those turned into an actual change order.
Okay.
You know, some of them, the contractor just puts us on notice that there may be a potential, and then it gets debunked that it's not an actual change order, so.
And in this particular case, that's where CDM would come in, hopefully, and look out for our interest.
They do, and, you know, we hold them to the fire to make sure.
Good, that's good, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
You
what
know,
we need.
And that, you know, on a project this size, you know, just a little bit on that, a project this size, the corridors that we had to go through, the utility corridors, you know, you're going through Broadway through that intersection, you're going through the South Main Street intersection. We're running down two sides of, you know, probably the busiest hospital in the city, that takes, you know, the whole entire, you know, South Coast, Dividend, Little Compton, everything, you know, takes all the ambulance runs from there. So, you know, we were working in some very busy areas with some very high underground utility areas, so.
Well, I think the results of the project is pretty impressive. And when you consider it, and it's something that was definitely needed, there's no doubt about it. But like you say, a project of that magnitude and some of the other ones that we got going, there's a potential for things that are unexpected happening. And thus you end up having what they call a PCO, a potential change order.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else?
So just one thing underneath, under other business in item 7, that's it for contract updates.
Yeah.
Just one thing underneath other business, there is, so we'd like to, the board to vote on a proprietary specification procurement. This is in relation to the Southend pump station, and we've done this, we did the same thing for the President Ave pump station for the pumps, which we're gonna be, again, using the same pump, so we don't need to do that again. But this would be, so with the Southend pump station, we're gonna be getting a trailer generator, so a large generator on a trailer. So if one of the generators goes down at one of our pump stations, we're able to take this generator there, temporarily hook it up. You know, it's a backup for the backups for our stations, you know. As you know, if, you know, power goes out and the generator, you're gonna hit worst case scenario at some point. This gives us an option to be able to make that function.
So is the
again.
cost of this being, are you saying that this is something we're gonna buy and use interchangeably as needed, and therefore, what's it gonna be charged to? Is it gonna be charged to the south end?
Southend Pump Station, yep, it'll be billed against that project, it'll be bid out with the project, so
Yeah.
we'll get the best price for that, and then, you know,
That'd be good.
contractor will purchase it and then turn it over to the city,
We good?
to the contractor.
Yeah, I think that's something that'd be good.
Right, so that's going with a proprietary specification, it's for a 125 kW generator, Cummins manufacturers, which, what we standardized against. We've found that they've been very good with their larger generators. You know, they manufacture not only the diesel engine, but they also manufacture the electrical end of it. They standardize all the panels and all the electric controls within the units, so it's not like we have to wait 3 months to get a panel from Japan shipped to us if an electronic component
done.
goes down, so.
Made here in the States.
Yeah, exactly, we've been extremely happy with them, and that's what we'd like to standardize our generators to.
That's what we're certified for.
So this is gonna be, a portable device.
Yep, this
Trailer.
will be mounted on a trailer, correct.
Now, are we buying the trailer too, or do we have a trailer?
It has to come with a complete.
Yeah.
Oh, it has to be the whole thing, okay,
Yeah.
Because
it's a whole-
it's gotta meet DOT specs.
very good.
Yep, it's a whole kit and caboodle.
We had one at our warehouse
Yep.
up in Westport.
Yeah,
It was a big one, right?
Yeah.
Probably it was a 125. was
Does
just
it
sitting
include
there.
the cab?
No,
No, the cab's out, this is strictly a trailer.
yeah, this is a trailer, it's probably roughly maybe 10 to 12 feet long by about 6 feet wide, something that you could pull
Okay.
with, that we could pull with a pickup truck, in an enclosure. So the other thing that we wanna, standardize to a proprietary specification is the access controls. So on all of our buildings, so our project down at the plant, the President Ave pump station, now the South End pump station, we're gonna have access controls, so the guys go up to the building, they have a card, they scan, it lets them into the building. It does multiple things for us, controls the access to the building, monitors when our guys actually visit the stations and stuff like
Good.
that. So we wanna keep this to one computerized system, and it's a Hirsch Identiv is the brand. So, that's what we'd like to
Yeah.
standardize. So, the only thing under Mass General Law, if the board could just vote on these proprietary specifications, if they're in agreement with them, that's how we're able to put these right in the big package and make these proprietary. We don't accept substitutions.
Where are you gonna keep this, down at the plant?
Yeah, so the generator will be kept at the plant and maintained by our staff down there.
All right, so do you need us to approve?
Yes, if you could vote on this and approve it.
What are we approving?
So, approve the proprietary, the
Requirements,
proprietary specifications as presented to you.
Okay.
Anybody wanna make that motion? To
Make
approve the
that motion.
proprietary requirements? You make the
Make the
motion?
yeah.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right?
Anything else?
We have to
Any
sign
other
that
business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Be here.
Anybody got anything?
Second?
Staff, no? Okay, that's it.
Thank you.